Good afternoon. Been a little while. I've been on here for a while. Been kind of a busy summer, but wanted to take this opportunity. It is Memorial Day, and wanted to send this day out to all our fallen veterans, because that's really what Memorial Day is about. If you don't know that, which I'm not sure if they still teach that in public schools nowadays, but anyway, I want to give a shout out and a thank you to our current veterans also, who are out there on the front lines keeping us free and safe. The sun's a little behind me today, so I'm going to try to walk. I'm actually at the Pymatuning Andover KOA campground, which I did a walkthrough on this last year. Maybe I'll do another one tomorrow. We've just been here for the weekend, but we'll follow this around. I kind of came up here because there's a lot of like goings on here, people weed whacking and lawnmowers and radios and things. So I kind of came up at this far into the campground because I wanted to just do this quick video. And like I said, I know we say Happy Memorial Day, but I always kind of hesitate because I'm not sure Memorial Day. I mean, it's definitely a celebration, but I don't know, not really happy things. Especially because it's basically to honor our fallen veterans, but which I really hope we can keep in our prayers. I'm gonna have a seat here on this table for a minute. I'm just trying to find a good quiet spot here, because I'm gonna just address a couple things while I have a little bit of quiet time here. So sorry about that. Anyway, so yeah, send this out to this Memorial Day. I want to thank all our well, obviously a prayer for our fallen veterans and their families, and but also keep our current veterans in your prayers. There's still many of them all over the world that are in harm's way, and we need to keep that in mind and remember that. So I would definitely want to send this out. For you guys that are kind of TV buffs, if you didn't know, if you're Duck Dynasty fans, yesterday Phil Roberston passed away, who was the founder of the Duck Commander and the Duck Dynasty television show series that was on, I guess, about 10 years ago now. So just found that out, and the reason I bring it up isn't really, it wasn't somebody I know, but it was actually somebody that I've respected. I've read a few of his books, and I know he was really a devout man of God who turned his life around from, pretty rough start, into adulthood. So should be kind of inspirational to everybody, I hope. But what I wanted to address was it shocks me how we've come as humans in this country. And I was reading some of the articles on it, and like I said, I've read a few of his books, and I know he was, he spoke his mind, which is fine. And I know, in this day and age, being a Christian is almost looked down on by many, but I wanted to address that. But what I thought was really disturbing, and I've noticed a trend of this, and I'm going to say it right here. This is coming mostly from the left, the Democrats and the left in this country. And I know we don't get political on this channel very much, but I'm going to today because I've noticed this a trend lately. And just recently, we found out that former President Biden has pretty advanced prostate cancer. So I actually went on and I see some of, I'd read some of the headlines because obviously I want to keep up with some of the news. So I would go on and read some of the comments under his, under a lot of the news stories. And I found it interesting, the dynamics between the left and the right. And I'm sure, and I'm not calling the entire right, the entire left out, but I've noticed this lately when conservatives versus liberals pass away. And I saw some of the comments under the Biden, under the news stories about Joe Biden, and people said things like, hey, I didn't agree with his politics, but, bless him. I hope he, gets well. I, bless his family, things like that, and keep them, let them find peace in this difficult time and things like that. And I thought, well, and that's the way it should be. And I feel the same way. I don't have to agree with him, but he's still a human being. The difference is when I was reading some of the posts this morning, like regarding the passing of Phil Robertson, it was people saying things like, good riddance, take the rest of your family with you. I wish more conservatives would die just like you. You know, to hell with you and your God. And I mean, some of the most vile things that you could ever imagine. And I've noticed this. I sometimes purposely go on and I dive into these stories, and I probably shouldn't because it just makes your blood boil. But we've got to do better as humans. You know, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, man. We're all still human beings. And I know this is a preparedness channel, things like that. But you know what? You know, maybe part of this preparation is for what comes after this world. You know, and what after this life. And if you look at your fellow human beings like that, it's pretty pathetic, to be quite honest. And actually, I find it a little bit disgusting. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people that I've disagreed with over the years, but you know, when I found out they were sick or they passed or something, you know, real empathy for them, their families. I'd never want to see somebody suffer. And to see these comments, and these comments are coming from guys in MAGA hats. These are definitely leftists, because they basically say it right in their posts. And you know, come on, people, we've got to do better. We've got to be, you know, find our humanity again. It's just that's all I can say. I mean, it's 2025, and it seems like we're going backwards as a species. We really are. I mean, we're really proven to be the worst animals in the animal kingdom lately. And I understand there's one thing is a difference of opinion, but there's a difference, man, when you just lost your humanity. So definitely, well, let's try to do better. You know, let's try to do better. We can still disagree. I mean, you know, you see a conservative go to a college and speak, and it's just, man, you know, riots and protests, and want to get them canceled, want to get them silenced, and everything. I'm not going to sit back anymore and say, oh, it comes from both sides. It comes from both sides. It doesn't. I'm not saying the right is perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I guarantee every day on a college campus there's a liberal speaker there, and you don't see conservatives trashing the place and trying to silence them. We just agree to disagree for the most part, you know. And so I guess part of this video is calling out you guys on the left a little bit, man. Do better, you know. I try every day to do better, you know, and I try to inspire the people around me to do better. But when I see these comments from you guys and these hateful things that are said when somebody passes, it's really bad. So if you hear people, there's like dogs barking, people walking their dogs behind me. So if you hear some voices, those aren't the voices in my head getting louder, I promise. But anyway, that's all I really wanted to come on here and say that, like, you know, in addition to the Memorial Day, and it's kind of, you know, I know Memorial Day is about veterans, and let's keep it that way. You know, this isn't about, you know, better sales at the jewelry store and things. I've been seeing ads all weekend of a big Memorial Day sale. I don't know. I don't get the correlation. So let's get back to remember what these holidays are about. Sorry, there's background noise here. So. I think you'd see me sitting here filming, you wouldn't come up here and make noise behind me, but whatever. Once again, let's do better as humans, can we please? You know, and I watched some really positive things this weekend, just to touch on that, because like I said, I want to say, I don't want everything to be negative, but you know, this, where we were camping this weekend, is just, it was a mud pit. I mean, we've had really bad rain, heavy rain for probably the last week or so, and you know, I watched a lot of people come together here, and if you looked around, some of these campsites were just mud pits, and I mean, there's nothing the campground could do about it. It rained nonstop here. But I got to see the good in a lot of people, because they were coming to people's aid, and they were, you know, doing things that just help them get unstuck and help getting their vehicles and their, you know, campers in place and things like that. And you know, I see things like that, and it gives me a bright spot. It gives me a, you know, a little bit of hope for humanity. And then I turn on the internet, and man, it just goes the opposite way. So, you know, this is a call to all of us, not just me. I mean, this is a call to you guys, my family, to those around you. Let's be inspired to do better. Let's try to do better in 2025. Let's start being humans again, and just try to be decent. Man, I'm still shocked by the things that I was reading this morning, and I just can't believe somebody could actually get on and have that much hate in their heart for somebody that they don't even know. You know, especially somebody who, you know, who turned their life around. I mean, you might not agree with their politics, that's okay, but you know, man, to wish death on people, wish death and harm on their families, and hope that they're suffering along with them, and some of the most vile things, it was shocking to me. And like I said, I purposely read comments on a lot of things, and when the Biden cancer thing came out, I purposely went on to a lot of the same sites, and I go on both. I mean, I'll go on to New York Times and CNN, Fox News, whatever, and it's definitely a different mentality coming from the left side of the aisle sometimes, and it's a lot more vile. And like I said, the right has its problems too. I agree, but man, I don't see the same kind of hatred for humans coming from the right side of the aisle as I do the left. So people, just take the time, do better. Let's be better as human beings. I know this is, like I said, I don't want to preach on here because this is a preparedness channel, but maybe our time here is preparing us for something else, for when we leave here. So keep that in mind, and let's just do better. I'll probably try to do a little bit of a walkthrough tomorrow on the campground. We've been here before. If you've been following the channel for a little while, you saw one last year. And I will say, just a quick one, and I'll repeat this again. The staff here has been absolutely incredible, trying to do whatever they could, and it's in a really bad situation. So definitely check this place out. Josh is the manager here. Him and his staff did a great job this weekend, at least from my perspective, and trying to make a really rough situation better for a lot of people. So yeah, if you're ever up here, it's Pymatuning, Andover, KOA. It's like right near the PA Ohio border, but it is on the Ohio side. So definitely check it out, and I'll try to do a walkthrough tomorrow. It's not a real huge park. They've been they've been keeping it up as good as they can in this crazy weather we've been having. So anyway, happy Memorial Day to you guys. God bless you all. I hope the rest of the summer is great for you, because this is kind of the kickoff for a lot of people. So if you're out and about, be safe, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.